On today's episode, we welcome back longtime friend Billy D'Elia to put Rocky Balboa to the ultimate test. That's how winning's done! Welcome to the Nostalgia Test Podcast, the show where two longtime friends put their mainstream pop culture past to the ultimate test, the Nostalgia Test. All right, everyone, welcome to another episode of the Nostalgia Test Podcast. I'm Dan Dissinger here in LA, and I'm here with my longtime friend and co-host, Manny Coelho. They're in New York. Manny, we are here.
Woo, the marathon. It's coming towards the finish line.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Oh.
Bro hugs.
Yes, we're here. We are doing Rocky Balboa, Rocky 6, whatever you want to call it. If you want to say that this is not part of the marathon, you should shut up, sit down, and listen, all right? Because we did this for you. We sat down, we watched, we rewatched, we took notes. I'm exhausted. I went through a pregnancy, a fast forward to a robot babysitter, and now I even see a woman cancer. Okay, and we're here. And today we invited back one of our longtime friends, one of my neighbors from growing up, Ozone Patrol, Billy, Ozone Patrol. Jesus. Billy D'Elia is here. Billy's back.
What is up?
He's a huge fan of Rocky. We
really?
couldn't have you on Rocky 4. Everybody wanted to be on Rocky 4.
I get it, man.
But we figured
you guys have me on.
we figured we invite Billy on this one to wrap up the marathon. And Billy always has some great things to say in the comments on anything about.
I got some choice notes, guys. I'm ready to drop some knowledge today.
This is definitely not gonna be a PG episode.
No. And you could check Billy out on the Roadhouse episode and also on the 2020 wrap-up episode. Definitely check out the Roadhouse episode. That was a 2-hour masterpiece dissertation on a movie that quite possibly, if I was thinking of the 80s, Roadhouse, Rocky 4. I mean, those two films like define those moments. Unbelievable. But check
Roadhouse,
out
Rocky
Roadhouse
4,
episode.
Point Break. Yeah, I think we're good there. I mean, what else? What else do you have to watch?
So here we are, everybody. Rocky Balboa. First impressions of it again on the rewatch, or I'm also thinking like when the first time you saw it, because it was a while before this even came out, right? So you had Rocky 5 comes out in the early 90s, and then 1990, and then Rocky Balboa comes out in 2006.
Yeah.
So quite a long time between Rocky 5 and Rocky Balboa. So I think I would love to hear impressions of when you heard this was coming out, and maybe first impressions when you saw it for the first time.
I remember my first thing, I was like, well, I was excited it was coming back because obviously I love Rocky, but I was like, does Stallone get divorced or something? Like, what does this guy need to make money for? I remember thinking that distinctly. But of course, I'm amped to see it. It's a Rocky movie, and Rocky 5 was such a steaming pile of trash that, you can't do worse than that. So I was super amped to see it. And then I heard the rumors that hey, this is a throwback. And I loved it the first time I saw it. I mean, let's be honest, this movie is designed to be a piece of nostalgia to recall the first one. It's 100% what it is, but that's what I wanted when I first saw it, so I loved it the first time. And, like I said, I probably watched it a couple times since then, times I may not remember, as you have mentioned, Pico. But this is really the first time I probably sat down and watched it again in a decade. And I think looking at it through the lens of what we're doing here was an interesting way to look at it. Because you're not just watching it for pure enjoyment. You're trying to evaluate, does this actually stand the test of time? So
yeah, Manny, what do you got?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I obviously huge fan of Rocky. All who have followed this podcast know my dog's name is because of Rocky. Rest in peace, Rock. I was excited when I first heard about this thing. There was a point in my life that I wasn't so unhappy with Rocky 5. So I was like, oh yeah, cool. This is going to definitely be great. And I kind of thought the same thing, Billy. Like, what's the money grab here? Like, I thought this got put, and I was like, yeah, it's weird that they're calling it Rocky Balboa. But I was excited. I saw it in theater. I definitely went with a bunch of people who really wanted to see it. And yeah, it was definitely a nostalgic movie, especially when I remember watching it, being happy, seeing like, all the different things that were in, all his like, the turtles, he started drinking eggs again. Oh. So like this time,
the meat.
Yeah, the meat. They had to like bring back the little things. And of course, like, his little path through his anniversary of Adrian passing, like all the different scenes of where she's in it as like how they like superimpose it and stuff. So yeah, I thought it was great. And then of course now I'm watching it this way to make fun of it and somehow destroy it, but then also say how great it is. So here we go. I'm excited about this one. I was excited about 5 too, guys. Check out 5, even though 5 is a steaming pile of trash. It's Rocky trash, and
I haven't watched it. I haven't watched it in a while. I gotta watch it again.
Yeah,
you should, Billy. You should
rewatch it. It actually
rewatch it for the first 26 minutes, and then maybe shut it off. But the first 26 minutes, the movie actually looks like it's going to be this deep, and could have been, really freaking deep.
It looks like this, right? Like the first 26 minutes of Rocky 5 kind of like this film. It was like, this is what they were meaning to do. But, they definitely missed the mark. But like, there was a couple funny things that we did on that. Shout out to Jessica Kwazz from the Second Chance Movies podcast that she was on that episode. Truly awesome episode, everybody. But
this is a shameless plug, by the way, in the middle of us about to talk about Rocky Balboa. Shameless plugs. So guys, if you like Nostalgia Test podcast, please don't forget to like and subscribe.
It's funny, like I don't know if I saw this the first time in the movie theaters or where I saw it first, but I do have distinct memory of seeing it at your apartment in Astoria, Billy. That's where I definitely remember seeing it. And
shit, I think I might have been there too.
This may have been one of those drunk movies that I would put on like this and the new Rambo. I'd be like, let's watch this.
I might have fixed one of your lamps that night.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
Oh my God. We need an electrician for this basic thing that any moron could do.
Holy nostalgia. Just plug it in the outlet. Oh, that's it.
Oh, man.
I remember that. You were like, Manny, you were like, dude, guys, there's a plug right here. And we were like, oh, shit. I was like,
well, fix the lamp. Rocky puts a light bulb in a phone.
Oh yeah, and that was all improv too. That reaction that he had, which was the brightest light ever in him. Like God, they did not. I didn't really enjoy the way this movie was shot. Like the cinematography was meh, and like the lighting was terrible. Like weird. I don't know what they were trying to do with like when he's walking to the car. And there's a lot of like trying to like put him in a silhouette kind of look, and then. Even with the light bulb, okay, I get it. They didn't realize that was going to be that bright. But you tell me you can't go edit and like put that in like the iris down. Like, come on. We've all been in film. We've all dealt with like film editing or video editing. And like, Dan, you love photography. Like, I did not like the way this was shot.
Do you think they were going for like a lo-fi look deliberately because they're trying to get the whole throwback feel to it?
It was tough because they were going for a lo-fi look in the year 2006.
Yeah.
So it was like they had to show some of like new Philadelphia. I don't know. I don't know. I wish it looked too. I don't know if they even thought too much about it or if they did, they overthought it.
Yeah. I mean, production-wise, I will say the one thing they got spot on because I know they brought in HBO was the boxing scene at the end was like you're watching an actual fight.
You know why?
Yeah.
No, I don't know why.
Because there was actually a pay-per-view event that was going on by HBO that Stallone found out about.
That's right.
And he figured he'd pigtail on that. The first shot was the fight before they shot any of the rest of the movie. Because first Stallone was in shape.
Yeah.
And it was the best shape he was in because he knew he was gonna be like editing and doing a bunch and working as like director and stuff. So he's like, I'll just do this now. And he figured, let's just keep the crowd there and piggyback off it. So they kept everything, the staging and everything. And but the crowd's reaction was natural. They actually cheered for Rocky. he thought they were gonna like boo him or whatever. They all came out and just started cheering Rocky and stood up for him. Not because like that all just happened naturally, which was awesome.
It looked great too. Like it literally, like, you know, felt like you were actually watching a boxing pay-per-view. So that was genius move by Stallone to piggyback off of that, you know?
Yeah.
When I read that, no one was prompted to like chant or give a standing ovation or cheered like that. As I was watching it and as I've been like reflecting on this entire franchise journey, I'm like, I get it. I get it. Because like Rocky as a character is just so much part of like the American like narrative of this idea. And like he has cemented himself as a character in our world. Like,
dude, Rocky became a stamp. He was the first movie character to be on a stamp, I believe. Check that fact, Max from Buzz in the Tower. Check the facts. And even the what was it called? There was a part when one of the announcers looked at Rocky, and Rocky, you know, Sylvester Stallone looked at him and said, and whatever. And the guy was like, oh my God, like, I just talked to Rocky.
Oh, yeah. It was Max Kellerman,
that almost seemed natural.
Yeah.
That like he was like, I'm announcing a Rocky fight. Like he was just being so, you talk about nostalgic, like he was like, I grew up watching Rocky. And then it's like, I feel like he was literally just saying that. Like, I grew up watching Rocky and now I'm announcing a Rocky fight. And it was like, this was probably really just ad-libbed and he just left it in there naturally.
Yeah, which is, because it would be weird because 1970 would be like what? The first Rocky film came out in 76, right? So he grew up watching Rocky. Like, I don't know how that would be possible. So it's like, I think he kind of was like, grew up watching the movies and they just kept that in the film. I'm pretty sure
definitely.
That's what had to have happened.
Well. Yeah,
I think it played really well and natural.
Definitely. That whole, I mean, the whole fight scene, like, you know, if you watch it definitely felt the most realistic out of any of the Rocky movie fight scenes. And I think part of that was the way it was shot. I mean, it's still absolutely unrealistic that if you ever watch a boxing match that was like any of these fights in any of these movies, like both people would be dead.
Yeah.
You know, no one just throws bombs for like 10 rounds straight, like taking and eating them.
Yeah.
Like,
that guy, Larry, though, the announcer, Larry, I hate him normally anyway, because I think he's lost his mind and he should.
Oh, no, he has.
You know,
the boxing announcers are terrible, dude.
You know, and like what his like announcer is like, he's like, it's a speed bag versus a punching bag. And he's like, he forgot his arthritis pills. I was like, I hate you, Larry.
Yeah, we're calling this
an exhibition. Yeah.
Because we can't call it an execution. I'm like,
my God, yeah.
What? I'm like, come on.
It's like listening to Michael Kay call the Yankees. It's like terrible, cheesy crap. It's just garbage. Yeah.
This is the one thing I did dislike about this movie. I think they could have written in that this was a championship fight.
Oh, yeah. They could have given it some.
Do you know why? Because George Foreman. Listen, this is why. This is based on the whole like George Foreman had that one. You know, he won the fight with his punch because like
50 and
yeah, right. So like, even if Rocky lost on this, you could have still made this a championship fight. Like, dude, we're talking about Rocky. You know, we're talking about the guy who saved the Cold War. This was a good fight. It's just, I thought it would have been more emotional if it was actually a championship fight and he was almost about to win it. Like,
yeah, I go back and forth on that because I feel like it requires a lot of suspension of disbelief in reality to even have the fight to begin with. Let's not forget about the fact that we've completely forgotten that Rocky has brain damage and had to retire from boxing.
Yeah,
totally.
No,
not going to mention that.
But Bill,
it would be criminal for an athletic commission to license this fight. It would be criminal. Like, it would be terrible. This is the kind of fight where you'd have to go have it in one of those like shithole states where they have no athletic commission to get away with it. Like,
or like out of country.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, oh, they're fighting because
or just like
failed the steroids test last year, you know, like,
or like they bring back Duke.
George Washington Duke.
Yeah. They bring him back and he goes and has it in Tokyo or something. Yeah. Like he finally gets his fight. No, I agree.
I hear, what you're saying. I definitely hear what you're saying. It would have been more suspenseful, but
here's the thing about that brain damage thing. If you read some of the facts about what Rocky had, some say that it wasn't actually that bad, that other fighters have had this and they've been able to not lose their license.
So it's more like
even having this
technology, like people got more knowledgeable in the 30 years since Rocky 5 and could still fight with this.
Yeah, they could have actually
let Tommy Morrison.
Whoa.
You know.
So guys, if you like Nostalgia Test podcast, please don't forget to like and subscribe.
But I think with Rocky, and this is the thing with Rocky, like let's say he had a really bad head trauma that would have killed him if he ever fought. But here's the thing I've learned about Rocky during this whole time. It doesn't matter. When you go from Rocky film to Rocky film, they just go like, whatever, we're going to do whatever we want. And
he was blind in the second one.
Oh, I forgot.
He was blind. He
couldn't see out of his, like, he has no peripheral vision. Like,
because they sliced it open the first one, right?
Yeah, remember when Mickey smacked him? Mickey smacks him in the second one, slaps him in the face.
Goes away. You're right.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden in Rocky 3, they never talk about that. He's still like half blind.
In Rocky 4, he should have like one hit to the head. He should have went blind. Boom. Like that would have been done. But I feel like the thing with Rocky is that they just push forward. It's like, look, we're pushing forward. We're doing this. And watching every movie back to back is like really interesting because what works so well in this film is going back to the original score, the original musical score. Thank God, because like that's what made this film so filled with emotion. That music. That music.
You know what though? What I didn't like about this, and you obviously know that Sylvester Stallone rated Rocky 5 as 0, so he did not want to recap Rocky 5.
0.
This is the first movie in the Rocky franchise that didn't have a flashback montage.
Well, it did the montage of everything but Rocky 5.
No, not in the beginning.
It didn't? I thought it did.
I don't. Oh no, you're right. I think. Yeah, you're right.
Really quick. No,
it's very quick, and it actually does like a flash forward.
Yeah, it punches to the future of the
punches to the future. Dan, you got it. You got your movie. It punches to the future.
You see things that haven't happened yet in the title.
You do.
You
do.
I didn't realize
it's the first time it doesn't. Ridiculous. It doesn't do like last time on Rocky, like and like you know.
Yeah, like I think at the end, isn't it like in the beginning of Rocky 4, they literally show like half the fight with Mr. T and then the ding ding moment with Apollo where they punch each other in the face. Yeah. One thing I noticed, so right at the beginning, like since we're looking at it from a nostalgia perspective, like they're going for it right away, man. It's the fucking yellow writing on the screen.
Yes.
It's the music, so that shit pulled me
right in. Take it back.
Exactly.
Take it back. Yeah.
But I mean, it's almost like they kind of paved the way for a similar franchise, but is a much shittier franchise, which is Star Wars. Oh, where they basically remade the original Star Wars with the first movie of the new trilogy, But like here you have a far superior franchise that did it right the first time and kind of set up.
This is a hot take. This is a hot take. Dude, you're going against Star Wars people right now. You're going against there should be a Comic-Con where just people show up for Rocky, like in Rocky characters. Like how is there not a Rocky Comic-Con?
That's a good question. There clearly should be.
Start it and invite us. And
the people just showing up as Spider Rico. People showing.
I can't believe they brought that guy back. Like
I love that they brought him back.
All the strings out, bro.
That's the best part, and he's just there, Like Rocky's like feels bad that he beat him one time, where we don't even know how often these guys fought, and he's like,
crazy. Like unless you're like one of us, where you've seen these movies multiple times, you may not even remember who the hell this guy is because he's in the first movie for like 2 seconds, right? Like
2 seconds, and he's like, they're counting the money, and he's like, oh, gotta take. He makes like $40 or something like that.
He doesn't even make $40. I think he makes like 25 or some shit like that. And then the best part is every film, every film, Stallone just has like these subtle humor, like comedy moments.
Oh,
and with
yeah.
Spider Rico, that their exchange is amazing. It was like Lucky Bug is all okay. And then and then he's like, just let me wash dishes. And he goes, all right, try not to get too wet. And then he's just like walking up the stairs. And I'm just like, what?
Dude, it's the best. It's the Spider Rico,
man.
and the fact that he's not, it's not just one scene. Like Spider Rico is in it. In so many scenes, like he got paid more money in this movie than he did in the first movie.
Yeah, I think he's in it more. He's definitely
he's a lot. He's in it a lot more.
He's got a 5 and above.
The other thing I noticed right at the beginning is when they introduce you to Mason Dixon, he's knocking people out and people are throwing shit in the ring. Like, have you ever watched a real boxing match? 95% of the time they're boring as shit, and it no one gets knocked out like this. So that part to me, I'm like, all right, guys, come on. Like, that seemed a little like they're trying to paint him as like this paper champion, but like, dude, look at the state of boxing nowadays. Freaking Jake Paul is fighting. So like, I think it's,
and this is also like, think about when this was. So this 2006, like, I forget he even was like, who was around and stuff like that.
Back end of like De La Hoya and Mayweather in his prime.
Yeah, because Golden Boy was on that. When they did the press conference, they also used the press conference that was happening at that HBO pay-per-view.
They did it right before or after.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like when you think about that, Billy, like you brought up a good point. Like they're supposed to be heavyweights. Now, when I was a kid, the heavyweight matches that I remember are like Riddick Bowe and Evander Holyfield. Those were heavyweight fights. Mike Tyson, that's a heavyweight boxer. Who was the boxer from England? I keep forgetting his name, but he was really amazing fighter.
Shit, I know you're talking about Lennox Lewis.
Yeah,
yes.
Lennox Lewis. These dudes were big guys. Those were heavyweights. Yeah. I'm looking at Antonio Tarver, and I'm just like, that he's supposed to be a heavyweight?
Yeah, he
doesn't. It didn't make sense. Stallone walks in the ring at the end, and he looks like a boulder.
Yep. Do you know if Tarver fought a heavyweight in real life, or did they just bullshit it for the movie?
That's a good question. I'm not sure. We have to look that up, but
let's do a fact check on that.
Yeah, it just didn't make sense, but it made sense that the state of boxing was garbage. Like they got that right.
Yeah. Oh, totally. They were not wrong on that. I just thought that was like, they were really like hammering that point home a little too hard.
Yeah, he's just knocking people out.
He knocks them out and people throw trash in the ring. I'm like, okay, guys, let's a little heavy-handed there.
Did you notice when he knocked that guy out?
They threw a towel.
They threw a towel.
They threw a towel. You saw that? It landed on the guy's leg. I was like, did their corner throw a towel? And I was like, was this a reference to that Rocky should have thrown a towel for Apollo?
Okay, so it looks like Tarver was a light heavyweight. He was a light heavyweight and a cruiserweight. I don't know what the hell that.
And he looked like he did not like. I would have not paid him if I was Stallone when he like asked for more money because he looked like crap. He dialed, and they mentioned it in. They're like, "Oh, it looks like Mason just dialed this one in." I was like, "Ooh, that's a shot right there. That's a shot."
It reminded me of like the body type that Carmelo Anthony had when he played for the Knicks, where he was always slightly out of shape.
That's great. Yeah. No, that was ridiculous. Man. So like, you talk about more nostalgic. Like, did you notice Cuff and Link?
Yeah, so original Cuff and Link, the OG.
He's like feeding them. Yeah, and he still has them, Billy. Like in real life. Yeah, they're still alive.
Live a long time, right?
Long time. Like,
that's crazy, bro.
Yeah. So, but then like, what bird is eating jelly candies?
Yes, I need that.
Like, what was that? He's like feeding the birds outside, and he's like a whole jar, like the whole thing of the jelly. Yeah. What are those things?
Gumdrops? You put like gumdrops down there.
Yeah, gumdrops. That's what they were. That's what they look like. Yeah.
It was bird seed, and then he just dropped a bunch of gumdrops in there.
I'm like, is he feeding rats? What is he doing? That's bringing pests. That's not feeding a bird, because you're killing a bird.
The whole area of Philly is filled with pests. I mean, look, it's all like burnt out and terrible. So I
just found out Long Island has rats, by the way.
No, good times, man.
Yeah, good times.
That was a Manny tangent.
There you go.
Did you notice, like, talking about like when they introduce us to the restaurant, you see Spider, which I thought we said was cool. But then they're showing like Rocky talking to his customers, and it's totally like they're like, yeah, dude, we fucking heard this story 100 times.
I know, but they want to. It's like they want to hear it, but then it's like,
and he's telling it like,
and then he goes, and they like finish it for him, and then he's like, and then I hear. I was like, oh man, you're right. They keep going there, and they're just like,
They're like
oh, he's such a nice
pandering to him.
guy.
They
Yeah,
feel bad. They're like, just let him tell a
they're
story.
like, this
Yeah,
guy
we've
has
heard it
brain
100
damage.
times.
This
It's like
guy
that
has
one
brain
person.
damage.
Doesn't he know this isn't his restaurant? He just keeps showing up.
He's
Like,
just, Billy, I don't know if you heard. Well, no, you haven't heard. Whatever, you haven't heard Rocky 5 yet, but like we come up with this whole thing about how like Rocky actually has had brain damage since Rocky 2, and his whole life is just made up for, and he just shows up places and people just appease him because like
my God,
Adrian actually never married him. She's like, oh my God, he keeps coming to the pet shops, and like all because of that one date he went on with him.
That's it. I love that theory, that alternate reality theory. I love it. It's all in his head.
That this is all in his head. He's just at that bar trying to get with little Marie.
oh God.
Oh God. I love that this is so like this always happens in movies where he walks in the bar and he's like, I'll take a beer. And I'm like, what kind of beer would you like, Rocky? There's many different kinds of beer. This
he said, I'll take a short. He says a short beer. I'm like,
tried to figure
what
it out.
bar has a short beer that's outside of like, Ireland? Like you go to Ireland, you're like, let me have a half a pint.
Like the 8-ounce nips. Like, is that what he was asking for?
That's what he was asking for.
Has that,
I think she just gave him a Heineken.
That's what
no, she gave him a hat, but she gave him something small.
Her reaction. Okay, go. I'm sorry.
Well, before we get to her, I just want to say, like, you know how he so it's weird what this movie was trying to do with the son relationship and stuff. Well, first of all, can we talk about that Adrian's dead?
Yeah, Talia Shire wanted no part of this movie.
But that's not how it actually went. Like, that's not what the story is, Bill. Actually, the story is that they actually agreed, and like she put out a statement just so that people would know that they didn't. There wasn't any like there was a whole other story that was going to play along, and the kid was in the Navy, and there was like all these different things that were going on.
Crazy.
And it just didn't have any like feeling, he thought. So they came up with the fact that she died of cancer, and there would be more like there'd be this other like feeling there. But I kind of thought it got lost.
It did. I mean, it was like a thing they kept harkening back on. But I'm gonna be completely blunt. I hated Adrian as a character in every movie, so I was fine.
Poor Adrian got
even like, 3
slammed in everything.
Even 3, because she had a pretty good speech in 3 and 5.
3, she's there. I haven't seen 5, but like I just remember in 4, but she's like, "You can't win, Rock."
Oh no, she was totally wet blanket in 1, 2, and
4. Yeah, I guess you're right about 3, but it's just like overall as a character, and even in like The Godfather, she's really annoying in that movie too. So it's just like
So you're just happy she was dead.
She almost gets killed.
Yeah,
you're like, I'm so happy she wasn't in.
I'm like, I thought it was. I mean,
I thought it was.
There were good emotional parts, but I agree with you that like it didn't necessarily connect all the way through.
I don't know. I kind of liked it. I don't know, because like I thought it worked. I felt that there was no other choice than to have Adrian not be there. It would have been weird to have her there. I think that that's exactly where it had to go.
The only reason why I think it was good is because she would have never let him fight, because she shut that down in Rocky 5. Man, she would have been like, no, you have brain damage, and actually we're not together.
And see.
And do you know that there was a really Adrian Balboa
at the end of 5? They got divorced in 5. I totally forgot that.
No. I'm just saying the whole alternate reality is that they're actually not together.
Okay.
But that would have been funny too if they just got a divorce. I mean, because the whole like Rocky thing is that it's a love story. Like Rocky 1 was like their love story. But like I agree, Dan, that like it did allow us to go back. Like the nostalgic like scenes of like the ice skating rink and like them being by him inviting her to his house filled with knives on the bed, like it that wouldn't have been there if it wasn't for her not dying. And I also like the scene with Paulie where he can't take it anymore because he's like, I wasn't good to her. Like he was like, I can't do this anymore because for you, this is happy. For me, it makes me feel like I was never good to her, and I don't know why she was so good to me. And like that was like cute. Like Paulie had some good. First of all, amazing rants. Of course, Paulie's still being racist as hell, and then like just like his little things in this one, as Paulie does. Like he's like a great heel. Like I hate him. I hated Tommy Gunn more in Rocky 5, and then I hated Paulie because Paulie caused the whole bankruptcy. But I didn't hate Paulie in this one.
No,
Like,
actually,
he was kind of sympathetic, like he
Yeah.
you felt bad, like you were saying that scene where he does that, like it's like, wow, Jesus Christ, like this guy is just it's making him relive all the terrible shit that he did throughout his life,
Yeah, exactly. He's like, I can't take it anymore. Yeah, it was good.
What's that guy's name? Bert. What's
Young.
his? There you go.
Very young, and like they show off his paintings. He's a painter in real life, and
Really?
it was great that Sylvester Stallone like let him put it in there because that's like he's carrying the paintings the whole time. Like when he gets fired from the meat thing and he comes back, and he was painting in the meat place, like And listen, man, like we even see that like he gets laid off from a job that we've known that he's had forever.
Yeah.
Only the one time that he was like a knuckle breaker for Gonzo or whatever, Gazzo, for a little while when he took over Rocky's job.
Wasn't that like a throwback? It kind of felt a little nostalgic to me, like when Rocky got his pig slip at the end of the day, and was that 2?
Yeah. Yes, you're right.
I
right.
thought that Stallone did his best acting, and he did amazing in this movie. That whole scene from the tour, all that stuff in the beginning, like his monologues about like when they first met, standing at the door, and I think what was great, that door sounded exactly the same from Rocky 1. Like when he opened the door, I was like, my brain immediately was like, wow, I'm in Rocky 1 because it just sounded the same. I mean, they probably, pumped that sound in there probably, but that was great. That's whatever that was, great choice. Like his monologue where the ice skate rink was, he's like talking about how like he feels electric when he grabbed it. I was like, wow. I was like, this is like the stuff that like I feel like the first 26 minutes of Rocky 5 was doing. And then it just all like fell to pieces, right? Sure. And this is like Rocky 1, like he's back in that air, and that's that Rocky 1 space, and it's like the lost love story. It's like the loss of his love, and so like we get that from like in Rocky Balboa. So I felt it was really good, though. The one confusing part was like when he went in the morning after he does a couple pull-ups and then goes to the cemetery to sit in a chair that he's stashes in a tree.
Yeah, and no one bothers to move it.
That was weird.
He says to Paulie, I owe you one. He keeps saying this, and I'm like, what do you owe him?
I know. I remember. Did you see the part where he's like, I don't need a watch. I got 2 watches. You gave me 2 watches. I'm like, that's great. That was like great because people who love the franchise knows that Rocky gave him 2 watches. And Rocky always wants to give him a job. He's always by his side, man. He's always by his side.
Rocky's just a good dude at heart,
I know.
He wants to help people. Like that's like the whole, Little Marie storyline, wants to help people. But before we delve into Little Marie, one thing I want to say, I feel like there was a missed opportunity here where they could have developed Mason Dixon's character a little bit because they start a little and there's some parallels between him and Rocky, where he got famous and lost himself like in Rocky 3 where Rocky gets his ass kicked by Mr. T because he's hungry, and Mason Dixon goes back to his guy, and then they never follow through on that narrative, and at the end of the day he's still just a piece of shit. Like even at the end of the movie, like you think like they have this nice moment in the ring, and then it's a split decision, and they're booing it and like getting all pissed off. And it's like I feel like they could have pulled that string through where you kind of saw like him and Rocky as kind of like very similar because it's a classic boxer's tale, come from a bad a bad background where they're poor or grew up in a bad area, and like boxing is what saves them and like helps them, and then they lose touch and have to go back to their roots. Like it's such a classic thing. So I thought that was a missed opportunity where they, I mean, if we want to be critical, they could have connected on that a little more.
I agree with that one. And I also think the movie was trying really hard with like the father and son relationship that kind of fell a little flat for me. Agreed. I saw some parts where it was like, oh, okay, I see, like he goes to visit and like that relationship that they had each other was kind of weird. I do like you talking about jokes. Like, first of all, flip phones are still a thing. Holy nostalgia.
Wow.
In this, right? When the boss comes and like everybody wants pictures with Rocky and he goes like this. He's like, he's taking a picture. He's like, and then he puts his fist up. He's like, yeah, this makes you look popular. Like
this is a popular one. That's got me more.
This is a popular one. I thought that was great. And like, but it's just besides the two speeches that kind of happened between the son and him, I feel like there should have been more. Like,
It was very shallow.
it could have been a little more. I feel like they rushed it. They cut it. Again, like, I like this movie. I just felt like there could have been deeper scenes.
I think,
And then there was like a thing going on with little Marie. So there's three different things going on in this. It was the Mason Dixon story could have been a thing. The little Marie story was definitely focused, but like kind of went everywhere, even with the son and Punchy the dog, and like,
that was amazing.
you know.
I just think that, like, I think the thing that hurt this film was it could have been 20 minutes longer. And that's so weird for me to say, but like when I think of like Rocky 1 and 2 and how those stories were set up, this movie had to go longer. Rocky 3 and 4 and 5, whatever, but let's just say 3 and 4, right? Those movies were training montage movies. Rocky 1 and 2 are character stories. Rocky Balboa is a character story. So you needed 20 more minutes at least. It needed to be a 2-hour movie. It needed to be a 2-hour movie.
Yeah.
They tried to do an hour. It was like an hour and 40. You can't fit all that in an hour and 40.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think they did a bad job, but I think like what you said, Manny, is like they missed opportunities, and like Billy, right? Like they missed opportunities here and there to like kind of make those like emotional points like come
That's
out.
what I'm saying. Like, let's say the fight was a championship fight. Mason, that story could have been huge, that he goes back to his trainer and his trainer's like, you can't lose this fight. Like, you got to prove to yourself and like have more thing like behind it. You know,
even like his trainer's like, he's like, what can the champ do for you? He's like, give me some of that money. And he's like, go fuck yourself.
Yeah. Dude, I was like, yeah, give him, I don't know, 20 grand. You got like 7 cars.
He's like,
he's like a house filled like with whatever.
And you constantly have just like basketball clothes on.
Yeah, he's got like a whole
posse. Because he's hiding his out of shape body for the movie, clearly.
Yeah.
You can't just throw your old trainer 20 grand. I mean, he's living in the gym. Yeah. I mean, he's living like Mickey. Like he's living in the gym.
Yeah,
like,
that was a little cold.
What happened to Mickey's gym? How did Rocky lose that?
Oh, did he own it in Rocky 5?
Yeah.
Yeah, remember
he got it. Well, it's Robert's gym actually. It got given to his son's
name, Robert.
Yeah, that's also Rocky's name.
They just call him the kid.
You know that's Rocky's name, right?
Oh, is it? I did not know that.
Yeah,
right.
We unearthed that in Rocky 2 is actually when it's said.
Interesting. I've never picked up
very lightly, and then there's actually times that they call him Robert, but you think it sounds like Rocky or Rob or Rock.
I mean, I think I agree with you. Just going back to something you mentioned, man, the relationship with his son felt a little shallow to me, and the son just felt like he was just not a sympathetic character. He's like unappreciative, like shitty kid, you know,
dude. Well, I mean, like the fact that he I
get it, but still, like, come on, man, like no one cares. Like, we don't want to hear this storyline.
And his friends sucked anyway. If they're constantly talking about little Rocky, like if you're that close to this guy, right, and you know that
trigger for him,
that like it bothers him, you know, you're not gonna bring it up. Like you wouldn't tease him. You know?
Let's really talk about that. Yeah, we would. You would. Let's talk. Let's think about like we would bust.
I don't know about, dude. I think if it's a real serious thing.
Well,
I guess you're right because they were out. They're just out to like.
Oh, you're
not real
friends. Your
friends.
dad's famous. Go fuck yourself. Like I'm pretty sure that's what we would have done. Yeah.
Yeah. You're right. I forget how old he might be at this point. I don't know because
I figured he's supposed to be like 24 or something like that. That's the vibe I got.
Douchey friends.
Yeah, they have like the Wall Street bro vibe, even though they're in Philly, which has no real Wall Street, you know.
Yeah, he's like, just erase the numbers. Like when he's like, don't get confused about the numbers. What about when he's like searching through his pocket and he's like, I feel like a kangaroo.
He pulled a tissue out, like a dirty tissue. Like, gross.
Yeah, you can tell me this guy doesn't have brain damage.
Yeah, and what he's like, his father's Jamaican. He's like, where'd you meet him, on a cruise ship?
No, he knows Jamaican. He's like, oh, European.
That's got me ball.
Oh yeah, he said European, but then he's like, "What, did you meet him on a cruise ship?" And she's like, "No, like, what do you mean?"
Oh my god, yeah, that was.
What was that?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
There was another time he takes a selfie with they weren't called selfies then; they were just called take a picture with a horrible flip phone. They were like, he makes the kid pull up his fist again too, and he's like, "This makes you look hazardous."
That's got me ball.
Dude, the
Rocky with the stupid jokes are probably, they're just hilarious.
Oh, he's got him in every one, man. It's like a standard. You got to hit on.
He's the best like dad joke ever.
Oh yeah, I don't know about eating them nails, Apollo.
Yeah.
Snail, dude.
Snails.
Like,
Snails. There's like no nails.
Okay, I forgot.
All right, so let's talk about major thing. Why this fight even started.
Wait, one thing.
What?
Rocky has been wearing the same glasses since Rocky 1. He's in the market scene and he has glasses on. They're the same goddamn glasses from Rocky.
Yeah, man, he's
1.
keeping those glasses. That guy.
Needs new
Dan,
lenses.
didn't you watch Rocky 5? He has no money.
Yeah. Dude, he's doing pretty good at Adrian's. I love when they're like, he's like, what's good? He's like, everything's edible. It's all edible.
That's got me ball.
Oh my God.
But do we want to get into the little Marie story of it, or just like go into, how
she
Spider
looks like
hates
she's gonna
Paulie.
cry every 5 seconds.
All right, so this is the whole thing with little Marie. Okay, she walks into the bar, and he walks into the bar. Happens to be walking by this bar that he hasn't seen in forever because he's thinking about Adrian. He's walking by, and now little Marie's there.
Can we talk about the people that approach him in the bar? Though?
Oh my
Really
God!
trash.
Is that you?
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
that you? Like, what was that?
I mean, I mean, this may offend some people listening to the podcast. I am not a fan of the city of Philadelphia outside of the movie of Rocky. And, from their sports fans for the most part. And I just see those people at Eagles games throwing snowballs at Santa Claus and like at Phillies games, like vomiting on children. Like that's my impression is like the people in that bar that come up.
Ah, yes. And this is why Billy was invited to the podcast.
That's the negative vision. That's the negative image I have in my head there.
I mean, but let's be serious. I mean, he's walking around Philadelphia. It looks like it's been bombed out. Like, I'm just like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I'm like,
why do you have a business here? She's like, the
Dude,
apartment
little Marie lives next to a burnt down apartment.
Yeah.
It just smells like charcoal in her house.
Why is there even a bar in that neighborhood? Like, what?
Oh my
how are they
God.
making any money?
She lives 8 blocks away
Dude, it looks.
from the bar.
It looks like The Wire. I'm sitting there.
It does, yes.
I'm waiting for those two guys from The Wire.
All right,
Oh,
so
this girl should not.
So
she should not be
the
living
relationship that's going on with Rocky and because like you said, Bill, like he has a really good heart. He's always thinking of helping out. But what is this?
Yeah, it's weird.
I can't stop thinking about where these people live.
And the best is like when Rocky's standing in front of it, he's like, yeah.
It's like, oh
Oh,
God.
you live
And
on
she-
temporary. It's temporary. He's like, oh, temporary. Yeah. She's
Yeah,
like, "You
yeah.
get an apartment. Apartments are good. Yeah.
Yeah, apartments are good. Like, what do you call this then? What is that?
Squatting in a burnt out building.
Exactly.
That's the thing, yo. Like, the kid is kind of like aloof, and like she's kind of like off too. She's kind of just like, I don't know. It was weird.
She
It
always
was
looks
weird.
like she's gonna cry. Like she just looks
Yeah.
scared to death all the time. All the
Yeah.
time.
You know,
You
the
know-
original woman was supposed to play her, the original character,
Yeah.
and then Stallone picked this one, and she sued Stallone, and then there was a settlement.
What the original character did?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
original Little Marie.
Original actress who played Little Marie.
I don't even remember that scene from the first one.
I do, only because we've
She
watched.
it again. Yeah.
Yeah, she called him Creepo, and then like
Who you
it's
creepo?
that part between her in the hotel the night
What
before.
Well, it was
that?
weird because like they're like they try and make it very clear that this isn't like a romance thing, but then
Yeah.
it's having like a twinge of it, so it feels a little weird, and, like
Yeah.
almost in a creepy way. Because then it's like a father figure, but then there's like that weird tension, and you're like, what are they doing? here?
And was
Like,
he
you know?
Mr. Creepo then? Like
I don't think
this
I
goes
don't
back to
blame
him being in
though.
a coma for so many years and has brain damage. He's actually for
Oh my
years.
God.
Oh, that's all coming out of the podcast. But like, I don't think.
So guys, if you like Nostalgia Test podcast, please don't forget to like and subscribe.
I don't think it's Stallone. I don't think it's Rocky. Like, I really don't think he made it very clear. He's just like, no, like, I'm just helping you because it's dangerous
Yeah,
here.
but they
and
kiss
you
at
need
the
a
end.
light bulb. She kissed him.
Yeah, but after giving her she's like, oh, I took this from the restaurant. There's a picture of Adrian.
Yeah, and then she
And like
kissed him on the lips and then walked away. And he was like, he looked confused. He was like, what the fuck?
I was confused about the whole thing.
He should have been like, women weaken legs, and then break Adrian's picture. What'd you bring this here for? I need to stare out this window.
I was gonna say, like, if you want to demotivate him for the fight, he probably just looks at the picture and pictures like Rocky 4. You can't win, Rock.
Yeah, like he'd be like, you know what? She wouldn't want me to fight.
Yeah, I'm done.
Yeah,
Not
thanks
happening.
for bringing this.
Thanks for ruining my chance. I will say one thing that I'm glad they did, because I'm sure you guys obviously know this, where like they have the alternate ending where he wins. Thank God they did not go that route, because that would have been that would have been absurd. Like that would have.
But what I'm saying was like that one punch, the George Foreman. No, I'm glad he didn't win. But I'm saying it could have been, yeah.
This also brought the full nostalgia thing around where you're getting in Rocky 1 where he doesn't win.
Yeah, when he doesn't win.
You know?
Yeah. But like I was talking to someone and he actually hates this movie because it's an exhibition round. He's like, how it's Rocky.
So it was Apollo.
Well,
Apollo
you know
died
what?
during an
I was
exhibition.
about to say, it was supposed to be an exhibition.
Yeah. Oh, did you see Tony fall? Did you see Tony fall when what end of one of the rounds when Rocky when Mason breaks his arm? Wood breaks his hand. Tony tries to get to Rocky and he falls flat on his face. And they kept it in.
That's awesome.
Dude, how about when they were waiting to go out and the Sinatra music comes on?
Amazing.
Tony Burton looks like he's losing it. He's like starts laughing. He's just like, what is this? Like, I feel like everyone, like, there was a lot. I don't know. I'm maybe assuming, but it seems like some people, they had a good time in some of these spaces because
I'm sure
that was ridiculous. Like,
oh yeah,
that whole
and
moment.
then Paulie, they make Paulie like be a billboard again, where he's like, "Hey Rocco, I could make some money on this," and he's like, "Sure, Paulie." Like,
he got a rat
whatever.
poison patch on the bottom of his jacket. It's like something like rat poison.
It's great.
Oh my
It
god!
was like, what was it, 2 where he had him doing the terrible commercials where he's got all the makeup on and they find out that he can't read?
Oh.
Yeah, he's like, Smeal. I don't smell like a man.
You know, I'll say what was good, really good.
Smeal.
What was really good, and I'm looking at my notes here, and all I wrote down was training montage with 5 exclamation points, which is like where he gives the speech, like, where he's like,
Oh my God.
we're building. He's like, you can't spar because you got calcium deposits, and he's like, we're gonna build brute force muscle, and then that whole montage scene was just like classic, like,
Dude.
the Gonna Fly Now music,
Oh, yeah.
The best part of that scene is like blunt force trauma, and Duke cracks his neck twice.
Was that?
It was an amazing way to start the montage. He's
Oh,
like,
God.
click. Like, what?
And here's another, because I had to look up the quote where he's like, and you got arthritis in your neck and you got calcium deposits on most of your joints, so sparring is that. And then Paulie's like, I had that problem. Great one-liner.
Oh my god! There was something about. Oh,
Why isn't his son saying, "Dad, I don't think this is a good idea. You had brain trauma when we were in Rocky 5 when you almost,
he's
got
clearly a
killed by
shitty
Tommy
son.
Gun."
Well, because
And where's the priest? How is the priest not in this one?
Yeah, that was a miss.
Well, you got
Maybe he
Spider
died.
Rico. Spider
Maybe he
Rico did
died.
the
I mean, the priest was
You're
like
right.
80.
Probably, yeah.
He's probably dead.
Yeah, he's probably dead.
But like, I think the son was too busy being like, I'm gonna feel bad if you fight because people aren't gonna brat. It's just like he was so worried about himself instead of like being like, hey dad, you actually might die because remember when you came back and I became a different kid from Russia, you had brain damage. So now this might not be a good idea. The boxing commission denied your license for a very specific reason. You gave from some speech about being like, don't I have a right because of that piece of paper down over there by the bell? Like what? Like right there.
Yo, the
That's your
speech that he
boxing-
gave the boxing commission was phenomenal.
They should have doubled down and be like, yeah, because you heard what you said, right? Like we're denying it again. Okay.
Yeah, because you're clearly crazy.
Yeah. And the guy who was in the boxing commission was his lawyer from Rocky 4.
Oh,
Did you know that?
really?
I mean, he's playing a different character, but that was his lawyer. He played his lawyer in Rocky 4.
Where was his lawyer in Rocky?
No,
4?
Rocky 5.
Rocky 5.
Oh,
Yeah,
5.
Rocky
Okay, I was like, I don't remember a lawyer in 4.
Sorry.
No,
The
all
only
there
thing
was
this
a
could have
robot.
used, this could have used, and this is just me, and this is it probably wouldn't have fit, but I would have loved to hear "Eye of the Tiger," but it would not. It probably wouldn't have fit with the vibe.
The kid should have had that. The kid should have had that.
Just to go back to his like weightlifting, assuming like this was on IMDb, assuming the standard size gym weights during the Gonna Fly Now workout scene, Rocky, according to this movie, was benching 365, snatch and lifting 315, and squatting 495.
Yeah, I was gonna say there were a lot of plates on there when he was squatting. It was like 4 or 5 plates on each side.
There's no way. I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's no way. Stallone's not squatting
steroids.
500 pounds. Like,
Yeah, and that.
All right, we skipped over the fact that this whole fight started because of stupid video game.
Oh, you're right.
yeah.
Simulation.
Like science simulation thing that was based on something that actually did happen between the Rocky Marciano and Ali.
Oh, they
Like
actually did that.
that actually happened. So that's what this was based on. But I was like, this is ridiculous. Like this is how they
That was
staged this
a
whole
little
thing.
silly. Yeah, Mason
And what,
Dixon
like
gets all
that-
pissed off.
Yeah, and that like gets Rocky to be like, I think I want to fight. There's something left in the basement. And
then they-
Paulie's like, what basement?
Oh, it's great.
dude, that whole scene.
Remember
with
when
the-
he's like, and when Little Marie's like, do you have reservations? He's like, I was like, oh my God.
dude,
That or
was-
the worst is the worst one he has where he's like, "Oh, you didn't miss tonight's special." He's like, "Jesus, dude!" Like, oh my god.
Dude, he's terrible. He's terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible human. He always waits till the last minute to tell Rocky something. Like Rocky's always like walking in. Like he did that in Rocky 4. He's like, "Hey Rocco, I know you were busy. You're about to go save the Cold War, but I needed to tell you something." So he's like, Rocco, I gotta tell you something. He's like, "Well, when this is done, it's done. Put it away. It's over. Basement, it's over.
It's over.
I love you." And he kisses him.
Oh, like what is happening? Yeah, but it's so. Oh god, that whole video game thing. I love how like they have those idiots from ESPN, and it's like total ESPN nonsense. Like one guy's like, "Yeah, Rocky Balboa is totally overrated." I'm just like,
Oh yeah.
Guy.
It's the dude wearing the stupid hat, right?
yeah, it's
Yeah.
just like, come on, bro. Like you can't like as a character, as a boxer, this guy has fought people. Like he's gone the distance almost every except for one fight. Except
Did they
the
not
Tommy
bring
gun
up the
fight.
Drago fight in like them talking like, oh wait, like he fought like
a steroided freak
like
that,
yeah,
like
he fought somebody that like gave him brain damage.
And ended
Like-
the Cold War.
yeah,
And then
he was allowed
and he had
home.
an amazing speech.
Yeah.
Okay, we all could change, all right? And how are we not talking about that still?
Yeah.
That should
It should be in
huge.
history books.
I mean, I'm pretty sure in like reality he would have become president after that.
Yeah. I think
Of
so.
course,
You're right.
he definitely would have been president, and not even that. Like you're saying that, like give me a break. Like it was so weird to have. So you had to have one person that was just like, "Yo, Rocky sucks." Like really? Like okay,
It's
bro.
kind of
Like,
funny though. You see what they show his record? It's like not that good.
No,
Like it's like 55 and 36, and you're like, wait a second, what?
Yeah. Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
weird, but like it makes sense why his brain damage when he's fought 90 fights.
Yeah.
yeah. It's like, do they really have to count all those church fights? And then like when he's talking, he's
It's
telling
like
little
all with
Marie.
Spider Rico.
Yeah, he's telling little Marie, "Oh, there used to be this club down the street over there. They called the Bucket of Blood. Guy
Yeah.
took a lot of beatings there. Good memories."
now it's a burnt out shithole.
When that kid's friend, when Steps' friend is like, "All right, say goodbye to your friend," where's that kid going?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who the hell knows?
Exactly.
Good question.
It
Yeah.
was weird. I'm telling you, like this movie's good, but there are parts of it that were just kind of like, yeah, we're not gonna dive deep into any of this. Like,
Because that's like they're like doing they want to get you with like the feeling and the nostalgia.
Yeah.
So they're like they definitely half-assed it.
I mean, they were just trying to get back at like, okay, we know Rocky 5 was terrible, so we need to do this
yeah,
to help
exactly.
you out. Because like we wanted it, like this was probably going to be the end, and until somebody came up with the idea of Creed,
Yeah.
But
Well, I mean,
like,
thank God
really-
Stallone didn't like decide to make more Rockies because he kept going when he did the Rambo remakes and like that went too far, whereas like this was like a nice punctuation on him being Rocky and then Creed is like a different beast, where
Oh yeah, definitely.
so it's good in a different way. So but I
And
will say
apparently
like,
he's not reprising his roles as Rocky.
Oh, he's done?
in the new one.
Yeah.
that's
oh
coming
really?
out.
What the hell would I watch it for then?
I don't know. Are we going to talk about the most memed speech ever?
Oh yeah.
So, Crybaby Kid comes to him
Oh God.
saying, I've
I'm
been
gonna
living in
cry.
your shadow.
Blah blah. blah.
Wah, wah, wah. I can't do anything without you. People talking about you. Wah, wah, wah. I only have my foot in the door because of my name. Wah, wah, wah. And then Rocky ignores it all and is
Totally
like,
does.
I'm ready to talk.
Yeah.
He's like, you remember, kid? I remember. And he's staring at his head. And I was like, was he waiting for this speech for the sun to show up? Like, oh,
Yeah.
it's on. Dude, best speech ever. One of
It's
the best
pretty damn good.
speeches, one of the best motivational speeches in all the Rocky movies. Besides, if I could change and you could change, we all could change,
Yeah. Yeah.
which was quicker. This
Yeah.
one was pretty long.
It
He's
was.
like-
I'm looking it up now. It's like 7 paragraphs.
Yeah, at one point he says something about sunshine and rainbows. Life ain't no sunshine. Life ain't always sunshine and rainbows.
Yep.
And he's like, don't blame other people for
Yep.
you not doing what, He's like, and that's not how winning is done. And that ain't you. Like,
I love that part. I love that part. And then when he walked past him, he's like,
oh,
"Don't forget
that
to
was
visit
deep.
your mother." And then he
Oh.
just walked away. I was just like,
I thought they were gonna like he was gonna kiss him or do something, right? And he
punch
just oh yeah, but like, but when he was like, the best part was like, imagine being all right. So Milo has to watch Stallone do this speech, and like Milo's direction is like, you just need to stand here and watch me do this monologue because I'm about to make the best speech that Rocky's ever given about winning there is. So this is your job. Just stare at me. Like, because the kid does nothing. The kid says
Nothing.
Now he
nothing.
just takes it.
Yeah.
Like didn't even say anything back. Was just like, wow. Like my dad just like took me to school when he's like, what is it? It's like, it's not about how hard you get hit. It's about how hard you keep going. You get up and you keep moving forward and you keep going. And like, it's just amazing. It's such a great speech.
Well, then he goes off and like says like cowards don't do that. And you're better than that. No matter what happens, you're my son and I love you. So he's basically like, that's not you, but you may actually be a pussy and I still love you if you are. He's trying to tell him how it is, but then he kind of gives him out at the end, But thankfully he wisens up to the speech and gets on board with the
very next day.
and quits his job. And
Quits his job and
quit.
is like, I just want to hang out with you and watch you get more brain damage.
Rocky's like, whoa, like I wasn't telling you to quit this good job.
Whoa,
Like,
wait a
what the hell's
second.
wrong with you, dude? I just told you you totally misunderstood what I was telling you. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, he's like, no,
He's like,
that's not what I meant.
I
He's
said
like,
take the
I
bull
got
by the
steps. You
Did
know,
you see where I live? I can't support you. And now Paulie doesn't have a job. I don't know what's going to happen.
Jesus, now you got to go work at the meat factory. God damn it.
Spider Rico has the last position at the restaurant. You can't work there. You'll have to fight Spider Rico.
By the way, I love how Rocky owns one blazer that he keeps in the basement of his
I love
restaurant.
it.
Yes.
I love
Not
it.
only did he wear it there, didn't he wear it to like the press conference too?
he
He's wearing-
did. He did. He
That thing
did.
must
And
smell like Italian food.
I know. And like
That's
downstairs in the
Rocky.
cooking area. So it's like, smells like all of it. Not like,
Ugh.
not just like what comes out at the like upstairs part. Like why does he keep it downstairs where
It's
the
like, oh, what's
cooking
that
area is?
garlic smell.
This is like
it's
garlic
Smells
and
like
grease.
Rajul.
You know?
Joel, what's going on here?
Oh my god. Yeah, and
I-
it's like that terrible color of sports coats that were from like the 80s that like a maitre d would wear at a nice restaurant in the 80s, but no one actually wears anymore.
But that's Rocky, man. When you look
Oh,
back
yeah.
at all the press conferences, it's just like, except for Rocky, I don't know, 4. Well, no, he wears a sweatshirt in Rocky 4. I mean,
Great sweatshirt.
he always has. He's always just wearing whatever he wears. And he's like, press conference time.
Yeah.
And like
Let me get
Mason
my
Dixon.
one good piece of clothing.
Paulie, you want to come to this press conference too?
Paulie's always there, like
at a press-
mumbling. Yeah.
Yeah. Why do
Paulie
they keep
finished
giving
his
this guy
answer.
a place at the podium? Why do they keep doing
Dude,
this?
they even have a full name like tag for him. He has
Paulie Panino.
Paulie Panino on the thing.
This guy said ridiculous shit for the last 40 years at every one of these press conferences. But you know what? Let's put him up here again and see if something different happens.
This is how Italian I am. I think it's like
Family.
It's like
This could be
Italian.
Rocky is just like Van Diesel and all the Fast Fives. He's like, you got friends, I got family. Like this is it. Like he has to invite everybody on.
Family.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, isn't his son at the press conference? No, his son's not at the press conference.
No, his son,
Right,
his son is not there yet.
His Steps there.
Yeah.
Steps is there.
Okay, so anyone
Steps
who-
almost takes over as like the son role.
The
That's
dog
why.
actually has
This
his
is
own
why.
spot at the podium.
Yeah, Punchy, because Steps was making fun of Rocky, and he still keeps it. He's like, Steps is like, I want to call this dog Punchy, and he's like, oh, it's a good name,
Perfect.
catchy. You remember once you say it once.
Dude, first it's like let's call his dog Fleabag.
Fleabag.
Oh my
Yeah, I think you could come up with something better. All right, how about Punchy? It's just
And
like,
he's like, yeah, I like it.
yeah,
And he
it's like-
spits it out and instantly feels bad about it. And Rocky's like, no, asshole, we're gonna go with it.
Yeah,
we're
he's
gonna
like,
go.
fuck you.
You know, I was joking. He's like, yeah, you're a funny guy. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Dude, the best is like when he tried to explain the dog. He's like, you see what this dog is doing? You see what
Yeah.
he's doing? He's like, he's not doing anything.
He's
That's what he's doing.
resting.
He's doing a lot. He's not wasting any energy. He's like, yeah, because he's dead. That dog, and it didn't even. It was trying to wag its tail. It was just like,
I love when Paulie sees it and he's like, what's
First of
that?
all, did you see him running with him when he's training? He's dragging that dog. The dog does not want to go. Like he's like, you see the collars like being like dragged. First of all, that's another thing. Like it goes back to the whole son thing. Like why wasn't the son training with him at that point?
Pussy.
At that point, the son was like, "I want to be with you." He should
Yeah.
have been running with his father.
yeah, he should have.
You know, like he
That
should have
was a
taken,
weird
but
moment.
like like the Tommy Gunn moment. You know, like when he was running with Tommy Gunn, he should have like gone with him, not this punchy dog who obviously could not keep up with Rocky.
Well, I mean, his son is clearly like he's a shitty kid because, Pico, this isn't giving anything away, but like as
Yeah.
we see in Creed, he still has an estranged relationship with his son. I don't think
Yes.
that's on Rocky. I think that's on his shitty son.
I was
you
so
know?
confused because I know
Yeah.
about that because I was
Yeah.
looking when I was doing research for this whole like podcast journey with Rocky franchise. I came, across scenes from Creed, and I'm like, why do they still not have a relationship?
Yeah,
Like,
it's
what
like,
is
shouldn't
going
this have fixed
on?
it?
Like,
Yeah.
if you think about the track of Rocky, like from when he had the kid to like that, so say Creed, whatever, he's not a bad father. He's like, he's actually one of the like few really good movie dads. Like there aren't that many dads.
There's
that
only
movie
one
dads
time
movie
he's
shows us.
bad is when he has brain trauma and he falls in love with Tommy Gunn.
And he's literally forgetting things in Rocky 5. Like when we talked about Rocky 5, it was just like when the kid's like, you told me this and blah blah blah, and Rocky's like, I don't remember that, and it's like
No.
he probably clearly doesn't because he just got his head kicked in
Exactly.
like a couple, like not even a whole year ago. Like
Yeah,
you know what I
like
mean?
only a
It's
couple
like-
months ago.
And
Yeah.
now he's back to living in shithole Philadelphia from his.
Yeah, and you expect him to be an amazing
Yeah,
father.
good
His
mental
brain
space.
is
Yeah.
attached to his skull.
Give the
He's
guy
trying to make a
moment.
break,
living.
man.
Yeah, he's trying to make a living training Tommy Gunn, like so that you all don't have to, so we don't have to live off of Adrian's part-time pet shop wages. And
Yeah.
like, and so it's really weird. I don't understand that because you would think after Rocky Balboa that their relationship would be done, like be fine.
No.
Like he
Yeah.
even says at the end, he's like, "That was the greatest thing I've ever seen." Blah blah blah. And how does that happen? I don't know. I mean, whatever.
I don't know.
They don't,
It's so
they don't
weird
give
because
any.
they don't really
give any insight into it. He just like goes there and like has never met his son's kid in Creed, and like it's weird, like and he doesn't belong there. It's like what it honestly feels like to me is that Stallone got lazy with the writing and just like went back to like that well again,
Yeah.
But as far as character development, it makes no sense over the
Yeah.
long term,
Yeah,
unless there's some
yeah,
deep-seated trauma that we don't know about that happened with his son.
possibly.
Who knows?
Yeah.
That's off camera. I just think the kid's a little bitch.
This
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I agree. It was a weird, like Rocky was dying in Creed. Rocky's dying of cancer,
Yeah, and he's like,
and like
fuck you.
Creed's son is, like he's helping him instead of his own son. Like, what the hell? It's
Yeah,
messed up.
Little strange. So
It's strange.
Would you believe me if I said if I told you that Mike Tyson improvised all his lines?
I was
I
about
would
to bring up
definitely.
that we have not talked about that yet. That Mike Tyson was in this film.
Because Mike Tyson was probably there for that fight.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, Mike Tyson's in here. And he's like, yeah, of course he improvised all that. He said nothing.
He's
like
it's
what
for
he
charity. This is for
said.
charity.
It's for charity. It's for charity.
Well, this is also wasn't this around the time that Tyson was doing like the Hangover movies and stuff, so he was
Yes.
getting himself back out there. And as we know now, he is high as shit all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a great podcast
Apparently-
called Hot Box or something.
Yeah,
like
apparently this guy smokes like more weed than anyone you've ever more weed than Snoop Dogg.
that. Yeah, and he did have a fight recently, right? He fought
Yeah, he
someone.
fought Roy Jones Jr.
Yeah, for charity, right?
Yeah,
For charity.
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 They've talked about him fighting Anderson Silva next now that he's boxing.
Shut up.
Yeah,
Stop it.
they've floated it.
Oh God. Oh my
Tell you, man,
God.
that's the thing. Like, as silly as like in the movie, you're like, oh, this fight would never happen. But then you look at the state of boxing nowadays, where you have like
Totally.
these YouTube stars fighting like ex MMA guys, and you're like, dude, like, yeah, it's
That's all boxing is right now
it's
because they
jump the
can't
shark.
fight against MMA. Like MMA is just like taking over.
Yeah, so they're
and who
doing-
want to sit and watch boxing?
So instead, they bring Jake Paul in, and like people probably just want to see that guy get his face caved in.
But yeah, he's caving everybody else in.
He's
like-
laughing
like-
all the way to the bank.
I can't
But-
remember. There's two of them, right? Like the
Yeah,
one
it's Jake. Whoever just fought Mayweather was the older brother.
where Mayweather knocked him out and then held him up to make it go. 8
Yeah,
rounds.
you see that?
Paid
Like
out
he
of
held
that,
them
yeah.
up.
Yeah,
He
I mean,
definitely
that's
did what
boxing
Mason
is
was
nowadays.
saying. Mason was saying he was going to do to
carry
Rocky.
you.
He's
Yep,
like, I'll
yeah.
carry you. That's
Yeah, he
exactly what
totally
Mayweather did.
that. Yep,
Yeah,
totally
because
did
he's
that.
like, yo, we got to give him like our money's worth, or else people would have complained.
So yeah,
I would
so
have been
it's-
happy to see him knock him out.
Oh yeah,
should have just
exactly.
done that. That's what
I'm
people
I know.
say.
Is it? I think
You know what
Mayweather
he should have done?
better
He should have
handle
done it
some
like,
type of money on himself.
yeah. But I was going to say like maybe go like 6 rounds and then knock him out.
Yeah,
Just to
he
be
did
like,
with
hey, by the
McGregor.
way,
he toyed
yeah.
with McGregor for like 3 rounds and made it look like he had a chance, and then just beat the piss out of him.
yeah.
So,
And that's the nostalgia test tangent.
but it just, I mean, boxing's a joke nowadays. So it's like this movie was almost prophetic in that, where
Yeah.
like it made this like joke fight, and you're like watching in 2006, you're like, this is absurd. And now you look at boxing today, you're like, oh, they pulled this guy off the internet and put him in a ring. Like,
This is the
oh.
last great fight. This is like the last great heavyweight fight.
And everybody
And it
was cheering for
against-
Rocky.
Yeah, it totally. Just everyone cheering. But that's the thing. I would, because
Hell
I
yeah.
believe Rocky is just so synonymous with he just is a great. He's a great symbol, like forever. I mean,
You know what I
as a
saw the
franchise.
other day? Remember that brisk commercial of the claymation Rocky?
Yes.
I saw that on Instagram the other day, and it was like, he's like, oh, he's like, oh, Mick, I don't know, can't get up. He's like, you know what you need? You need some brisk. Get out there. He's like, that's brisk, baby.
I forgot about those commercials. Jesus.
Oh man. So is there anything else that we need to touch on in this one? I feel like
No,
we
it's
just
weird.
really-
I don't know. This one went all over the place, just like the movie.
Yeah.
I didn't hate it. I thought it was.
hate it. It's still good overall. I mean,
It's
any
definitely
Rocky
better than
movie's good.
5.
Yeah. So it has that going for it. It definitely, like, if you're a Rocky fan, like, how can you not like this movie? Like I said, I'm looking at my notes, and as I got further in the movie, we got into the fight, and I was drinking more while watching. I'm like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
So it's like,
But that's the thing. I think what's great about this film is I'm happy that it was made.
You're calling it a film?
This is a film. This is a film. It's got a musical score. It
fair
felt
enough.
like
Okay.
it feels like a
All right.
film.
not a music video.
Okay.
It's not a music video. I think even as a regular film on its own, I think it's not a bad story. There are holes, of course there are holes, but I mean there are holes in a lot of different stories, even like really good movies that we enjoy.
Fair
but I
enough.
think like this had the emotional depth, it had the character story. I love the market scene. Like I'm a sucker for like a scene like that. When
That
I
was
saw
good.
that, I love that because it's like he's a
He's
person.
a hard worker, man. He doesn't stop.
He
Like,
made
he's
yeah,
good.
Stallone did a good
Just
job
keeps
making
moving
him
forward.
yeah.
That's how winning is done.
So wait, at the end, are we to believe that he's like rich again in some way?
I mean, he should.
Well, that's my question.
Yeah,
Did he get paid?
He should have gotten paid
Because Mason definitely got paid, but this kind of like those two sleazeballs kind of brought back like Washington Duke kind of like vibes. They like even when like Mason was about to lose because he broke his hand, and he's like, if you lose, that's it, like this is all you. They didn't care. Mason was about to make 15 million. So like, did Rocky make that much?
Well, that's the thing. Should he have? Yes, but we know like that Rocky's an idiot. So those guys could have been like, "We'll give you $50,000." He'd be like, "Sounds good,"
Yeah.
Sounds good. Paulie, you want to hold this?
Exactly. Paulie, take care of it.
Because in Rocky, in Creed, you don't see anything. Like
no, he's still living in
still living in that area. I think he still has
running
Adrian.
a restaurant. I can't remember. Yeah, but he's not like rich. So
no.
Maybe he kept.
Maybe he gave it to his son, and his son just ran away with it.
Stop talking to him. Oh my
God, Rocky Balboa. Well, I mean,
Billy, you got to go and watch the other ones. I got to
go rewatch them. Yeah, I mean, it can never. I mean, I've seen all the 1, 2, 3, 4 million times, but it's always nice to rewatch them when you haven't for a while. And like you guys said, how you just watch them all in a row. I feel like it's nice to have the continuity. Plus, like to me, like at this point, it's almost like mindless. Like where you need to decompress and you just put on something that's comforting and mindless. Like that's what Rocky is to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why this is so hard to judge, like from a nostalgia perspective, because like Rocky is such a huge part of like my childhood and life. Like Manny, I remember when we were drunk at my brother's wedding doing karaoke to No Easy Way Out.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah,
so it's like
karaoke to that song is hilarious because it's just the same
lyrics over and over again. Yeah.
And did you know that we found out during doing this that was a divorce song?
Really? Well,
they
should have had Rocky get divorced from Adrian in Rocky 4.
Yeah, I mean, it was basically like she was like, "You can't win, divorce. That's it."
Jeez.
But
she showed up in Russia. She showed up.
She did,
and
that's what turned it on. That was the second montage.
What we found out is like Adrian is a montage cuer. She cues every montage in every film.
She loves being on the top of steps when she's belittling Rocky.
I will say I'm thinking about it because you brought this up, Dan, where we actually called this a film. And as much as I love Rocky 4, like they just mailed it. And a lot of the time, we're like, all right, song, grab a bunch of old footage. Let's just throw this shit together and edit it in. Like that's like, it was not filmmaking as much.
It was actually supposed to be an hour longer.
Oh my God.
They're releasing that in November.
He's doing the director's cut, but I read that the director's cut is not going to have the robot in it. So I'm done. Not watching it. Done.
I'm mad that they're taking that out.
Yeah,
he's the one that wanted that robot.
Yeah, I mean that changes the vibe.
Is he cutting that whole scene? How do you?
How do you do that?
You just paint the robot out?
Like
so
Apollo calls.
I just lied to you. I'm gonna watch it,
dude.
Yeah, of course. I mean,
I was like, what are you talking about? But what's weird about that is how do you cut that out? Because Apollo calls Rocky, and Rocky's getting dizzy talking on the phone. To Apollo,
unless it was
that when Apollo angrily throws a tennis ball in the pool.
Yes,
is that what that's?
Yes, yeah. And he's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I'm getting dizzy." Like Apollo has no idea why Rocky. And the best part of that is Apollo's reaction is just keep moving forward because he's like, it's
like,
Rocky.
Crazy.
Yeah. Like, what did they on the Rocky 4 episode? What did the guys when Buzzn the tower when the robot came in and Apollo was there? It's like, all right, Rocky, you got a lot going on here. Like, it's okay. What's happening here? But what happened to that? That robot obviously got sold. That's obviously from Rocky 5. Right?
I wish I could find that on eBay. I would totally buy that.
All right, so here we go, guys. We're here. We're gonna do the nostalgia test, and then we're gonna ask Billy for his rating. So I'm just gonna go first on this. I think this stays nostalgic for me. It's definitely not passing any nostalgic test. I don't think about putting it on. I definitely, when you think about what Rocky movie you want to watch, you don't go like, oh, let me put on Rocky Balboa. So I would say it just stays nostalgic for me. Because the movie itself is a nostalgic movie to bring you back to the other movies.
Right. Billy,
That's
go
my
ahead.
opinion.
You all go. Yeah, go.
I would agree with Manny. I think this is, it definitely stays in the nostalgia realm because, that doesn't mean I didn't enjoy watching it. But once again, if I'm like, shit, I feel like watching Rocky, I'm going to put on Rocky 4, Rocky 3, or even Rocky 1. And this is really like, the movie was created to play towards the nostalgia of the first one. So like for what it is, like, they did a good job, but it's definitely stays in the nostalgia realm.
Oh, man.
Oh,
I've been having a hard time with this because you know what? I'm just gonna follow my gut and just do me. I
Don't
like
do
this.
it.
I'm passing it because
No way, dude. You're saying you think about playing this like let me go actually turn this on. Not that it's on a freaking marathon.
Well, let me ask you this question: would you, if you
I'm exhausted listening to you,
choice to put on Rocky 2 or this?
We're talking. That's talking about ratings now. You're not talking about whether it passes our test here.
I'm saying it passes for me.
Oh yeah, you passed Rocky 2, didn't you? No, you didn't.
I don't know if I.
You didn't pass Rocky 2.
I didn't pass Rocky 2.
I'd watch Rocky 2 over this.
I watch it again because, like, I'm telling you right now, like, I think Rocky 2. I fast forwarded through like the whole hospital scene in Rocky 2, and. But the thing about I like this. I don't know why. I mean, look,
it's teach his own. That's fair.
I thought,
Dan, it's funny that you say this because I actually did enjoy it the first time back watching it, but then I watched it again before this podcast, and I was like, too many plot holes, and then I kind of like got mad. But like when we first brought this up and we were going through the marathon, I actually did a marathon that. Like the very next day, and I was like, actually, this is a good movie. And then I was like, oh, and I got way too deep and like dissecting the fact that they were trying to do 3 different stories that just weren't really going anywhere, and they were just like awkward. Yeah. So, yeah,
I don't know. I
agree. I see what you're saying. I see where you're at, though.
Yeah, I don't know why. I'm just doing. I felt like when I watched it, I enjoyed it. It was. It's got its problems, but the thing is, like, I felt like this was. Now I don't even remember what I said about Rocky 3.
The freaking score.
I don't know what I said about Rocky 3.
That's
Did
all
I pass
you like.
Rocky 3? I don't even remember.
I don't remember, but I have to say, I think you like the fact that like they brought back all the original songs and stuff, or like the original songs. Yeah.
I
think that's what got you. It got you.
It got me.
They played to you, and they reeled you right in. They're like, oh, this is gonna go on a podcast, and he's gonna pass it. Like,
it's got a high Rotten Tomatoes rating. This has 77% critic rating. It got so. I mean, I'm not out there by myself. So, but I'm gonna pass it because I felt like it is the exact movie he needed to do. I thought it was done really well. I enjoyed it. It's funny. It's weird. It's got its problems, but I felt like I enjoyed it. I
think that's fair, man. Because I mean, also too, like, if I was not watching it with the eye, like I'm doing this podcast, and I need
the tiger.
No, damn straight. And like look at it with a critical perspective, I would just enjoy the shit out of it, and be like, oh man, I haven't watched this movie in a while. Yeah, it's really entertaining.
But
when you're
agree.
Looking at it, when you're like, okay, but maybe dissect that could have been done better. Like I normally don't watch movies like that unless unless I'm doing it for like this, Yeah. So I think if you're just watching it organically, like if you had, hey, oh shit, this is on HBO, I haven't watched it in a while, I'd be like, wow, that movie was fucking great,
Yeah, it's on HBO Max, so.
Yeah. That's how I watch it for free. Yeah.
So
it's not for free. We're paying for that shit.
Yeah, good point. Fair enough.
So with your Rocky, so Billy, how do you rank?
What's your rating,
We've been asking everybody. Manny and I have been ranking them every episode,
and we keep changing them because we've gone through so many.
I might have a weird rating.
Let me think
today.
here.
I don't know.
All right, so number 1 is 4 for me. And I know it's not a good film. That's fine. Whatever. It's
you're
amazing.
A lot of people. 4 is
so 4
fanfare.
4, 1, 3. Ooh.
See,
Pico. Now I'm having trouble between this and 2. Shit. All right. Then 4, 1, 3. I'm actually, now I'm thinking about it, I'm going to go this 2, 5.
I'm jumping in right now and agreeing with Billy. Today, So last episode, I was a 4-1-3-2-6-5, and I always flip flop. But today, because obviously we really got into this one, I'm 4-1-3-6-2-5 also. Because 2 is just a continuation of 1, and I've said this many times, and Dan even brought this up. When you're thinking about watching Rocky, you never say like 2 doesn't stand alone.
Yeah.
You have to have 1 to have Rocky 2, and you never go like, oh, I want to watch Rocky 2. Like you'll just be like, I'll watch Rocky 1.
Oh, it's on HBO. I'll watch some of it. But yeah, you brought up the point, just like the eye thing I forgot about, and the hospital scene, Pico, that you just mentioned. Like that stuff. Like when I think back on that, like there's a lot of filler bullshit in that movie. You know?
Oh yeah,
yeah. It's a long film. But if they're like, hey, we're gonna show all the Rockies, and it's right after 1, I'm watching 2.
Exactly.
But I'm not randomly watching 2. Like I'll randomly watch 3.
Yeah.
Like that, you know.
And the more and more I think about it, sometimes I'm a
for 3.
Yeah, more and more. Sometimes like 3, I enjoy like entertaining wise more than 1.
I would
just
agree.
because like there's so much that's going on there in the entertaining of like the speeches and like, you know, the bro hugs. Yeah, the montage. So like sometimes I'm and this is a hot take for Max from the Buzzn the Tower guys.
Oh my god,
a 4-3-1-6-2-5.
I would not argue with that. If you told me that was your number 1 choice, like your number 1, I would not argue with you, because to me, and I agree with you, Manny, I think 3 and 1, it depends what mood you're in. Like if I want to watch a real movie, 1. If I just want to like once again like be entertained and enjoy something, yeah, it's gonna be 3. You know, like 1 requires you to think more while watching.
Yes. Yeah, like I'm today.
And it's beautifully shot. It's beautifully shot. It's beautifully scored. It's
the problem with 3 is this: 3 didn't go far, and it didn't know what it wanted to be. It didn't know if it wanted to be a Rocky 1, 2, or a Rocky 4. It had all the elements of both, but it didn't. It didn't go full force into either one. So it kind of was just like odd in that way, but it still was good because you had that weird like Hulk Hogan fight. You have
Hogan and Mr. T. Jesus.
So good. Thunder lips.
But it's entertaining, but that's Rocky 4 entertaining. But then it has the like an emotional depth that like doesn't fit sometimes. And then the bro hug, you got
bro hugs,
the running, and I mean all that stuff. But like with Rocky 4, it was like we're going full throttle on this, and they knew exactly what it was. And I think like that's why Rocky 4 is so well received by fans. It's just because it's like that's what we wanted in Rocky 3 in many ways. So for me right now, I'm a 1-4-3-6-2-5. Like that's how I'm looking at it.
1-4-3-6-2-5. All right.
I could see that. I mean,
I
think
still love 1 the best. I did just something.
It's the best
so
film.
charming.
You know, it's as far as a film perspective, I agree with you. It's the best film.
And I love the way what Stallone does with Rocky in there. He's funny. He's emotional. He's everything in that film. He does, and also it's just like, and I think that's why I also love 6. It's kind of like that, but and I don't feel bad about 2. It's not like 2 is bad. It's just like if I'm ranking them all right now, I just am not bringing 2 along with me.
Like you said, it flows off of 1, so you would never watch it on its own. Like that'd be weird. Like you said, if you're like, hey, Rocky Marathon is on, and you're like 1, fuck, I'll watch 2. Why not? You know?
Imagine you're like, you go over someone's house, yo, you want to watch Rocky 2?
Like,
I would be like, what?
Like what? You're a 2? You're a 2-1?
You're a 2-1?
Like what's wrong with you? Like you stop being friends with that person immediately.
No one's favorite movie should be Rocky 2. Like no one's favorite Rocky should be Rocky 2. Like that's bad. That's almost as bad as
we
saying
keep
Rocky
saying
5.
we want to come up with T-shirts that say like just the numbers and like those who know and like
that's great.
Imagine walking by and someo's wearing a 2-1-4 and like 5 is in the middle, like a 2-5. They're like, what would be the worst score?
Probably
like
5-2.
5-2, but like no one would do a 5. No. If someone's doing a 5, I would, like really never speak
if
to them
5 is
again.
in the middle, that's bad.
It would probably be like 5-2-6, and then alternate 4 and 1 on the end somewhere like that, or like a 1-4 or something.
Bad.
Yeah, I mean, Steve had a pretty bad rating.
Yeah, Steve had he ranked them in order. 1,
Yeah.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
That's terrible. That's terrible.
Dude, Billy, you don't remember this on the recap episode. We were talking about this, and Steve was like, put 4 on 4, like
I remember that.
4th place, and we were like, what? Like, how is that even possible?
No
How
way.
is that even? Yeah.
No.
It's really bad.
Wow. Okay. So everybody, that was the end of the Rocky franchise.
Thank
journey.
God.
Manny, how do you
No.
feel about that?
No.
Thank God.
I mean, I want to say, obviously this is exhausting. I don't know who, if you can have the time to do a Rocky marathon, it is great. I mean, I love the franchise. It's great. It's just, this was tiring because we're looking at it at a different lens and we have to dissect it. And, doing the movies, I love doing all these different tests, but doing this many movies in a row kind of got to me. But
yeah,
you know what? It did give me a new appreciation or a refound, I don't know how to say it, appreciation for Rocky 3.
Yeah.
I had kind of written off Rocky 3.
Mhm.
Like because I was kind of just like, man, yeah, whatever. And then after watching, I was like, oh, this is actually really good. Like I said, like sometimes I am a 4-3, go max, but like today I'm a 4-1, 4-1-3-6-2-5. I'm going to repeat that. Dan, this is it. I'm so happy because we're going to go on break soon. And
Yes,
because
we'll
this is
announce
what
that
this
soon.
this is what this marathon did to us, that it's causing us to actually text each other and go like, hey, do we need a break?
Yeah.
So that's going to be coming soon.
Yeah.
We got to call, I have a feeling we're going to punch to the future and there's going to be at least one more episode.
There might be. There might be.
There
one
might
more
be
people.
a redemption episode.
Stay tuned, Buzzn the Tower.
Stay tuned, Max and Mo. Someone's coming for you.
Yeah.
Someone is coming for you. There's going to be a revenge.
But yeah, we're going to be going on break soon. And when we come back, there'll be some different things we'll be doing, but we'll announce that soon. But yeah, it was great. I have a whole newfound appreciation as well for 3, but also for Rocky even more. And actually for Stallone, like, even though like I thought he was I like Stallone as an actor and everything, watching all these Rocky films and seeing and reading about them and understanding all the story behind like how he got all these films done. And I mean, even just Rocky 1 in general, it's amazing to see someone who really just continued to just do the work no matter what. And even after the flop that 5 was, he's like, we're doing another one. And he's the most proud of this one. He loves this one because no one wanted to make it.
I was going to ask you that.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh, did he rate this one?
So what he says is like, obviously he loves Rocky 3, Rocky 1 and things like that, right? But he's the most proud of this one because it's a film that no one wanted to back or greenlight, and he just kept pushing and wanted to get it done.
Kept moving forward.
Exactly.
That's how winning is done.
All these films mirror his
I love
career.
Billy smiles when like I say quotes, like he's cracking
Great,
up.
dude. I love it so much.
But that's the thing. All these movies mirror Stallone's career. This one does too.
Yeah.
And this is like a part of his whole story. So I actually enjoyed this time, but I am exhausted. But Billy, thank you so much for coming on.
Guys, thanks for having me. I appreciate
Balboa.
you guys having me on for the last one. Like, what a huge Rocky fan I am. So I appreciate it, guys.
No, it was
I appreciate your rating. I like it. I agree with it. So
and
we're getting those shirts, Max. We're getting the shirts. 413-625. That's a good rating. I think that's a good person to see down the street. When you see a 413-625, you'd be like, all right, good. I could be friends with him.
It's fair.
Oh my God,
it's
fair.
fair.
Such a weird shirt. But everyone, we want to hear your
With no
thoughts on
explanation,
Rocky
just
Balboa.
that number.
Put your thoughts about Rocky Balboa in the comments of the episode. Also, put your rankings. Please rank Rocky.
Yeah, I want to see more rankings. I want to see a 5. If someone puts 5 within the first, like, if 5's not either second to last or last,
I think it always has to be last.
Questioning. How can anything be worse than 5? I mean, I don't think that's possible.
Bill, we had somebody on in Rocky 2 who I believe would probably put 5 at like at least 3.
Oh my God. Oof.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah. Rob, we're coming at you. We're calling you out, Rob.
Come on, Rob. Come on.
I mean,
do better.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sticking it out with us during the Rocky franchise marathon. And we'll be back with one more episode before we go on break. And It's going to be a good one. So everyone, make sure you're signed up at the
Redemption
email.
is finally here.
Follow the podcast on iTunes and everywhere you get podcasts, and follow us on Instagram and Facebook at The Nostalgia Test and Twitter at Nostalgia Test, and email us thenostalgiatest@gmail.com. Manny, Billy, peace.
Later, bro.
Peace.
Thanks for listening to today's episode. Please subscribe to the Nostalgia Test podcast to know when new episodes drop. Don't forget to leave us 5 stars and a positive review so more people can find the podcast. Share your thoughts and memories on today's topic on our Twitter at Nostalgia Test and on Instagram at The Nostalgia Test. Tune in next time because you never know what pop culture will pop up on The Nostalgia Test.